Welcome to the BlackBerry Central podcast, episode 3. I'm Dylan Habkirk, and joined by me today is Jared, Pat Wallace, and Scott. So thanks to everyone joining today.
Hello.
Hey.
Today we have some cool topics. We're going to talk about some 10.3.2 stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about the fiscal results, as well as the new Blend beta. And then we're going to talk about QuickPost, of course. But let's start off with 10.3.2. I know that some of us here are running it without naming names. Scott, you just installed it not long ago, I think a day or two ago. What do you think of it so far?
Yeah, it's running basically for the past 10 hours on my device, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to play with it.
Yeah.
I noticed the new lock screen, or the unlocking part of it, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's basically, instead of the fading in and out, which we used to get, yeah, Pat agrees with me, now it's just like a horizontal bar as your finger goes up. So I'll show off my wife here, but anyway, here we go. So as you see, it's not, there's my wife, and, instead it used to fade in and out. So I'm not a fan of that.
It's a little bit more minimalist, I think.
Yeah, I really like the fading part. I thought it was pretty cool, and I would actually show it off when I was showing off BlackBerry 10 to people, but now I'm not even going to show it off anymore.
Yeah, it was a neat effect.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it's looking really Android-like now with that new lock screen. We have a video of it for people who didn't catch Scott's there or want a closer look. So go to BlackBerryCentral.com. We have a 10.3.2 preview. But to name off some of the new additions, just so people know, we've got some, BES 12.2 performance enhancements. BlackBerry Protect is back and a little bit more enhanced than it was in the past. There's been a lot to talk about that. We've got some hub improvements, calendar improvements, some assistant additions, which I haven't really come across just yet.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, some speed improvements. The Amazon store itself, we have the Amazon App Store, but we also now have the Amazon Store preloaded. Who's to tell if this is going to be final? Of course, 10.3.2 is not final at the moment. It is just pre-release for certain people. No way does this represent the final iteration that they're going to release, hopefully in mid-2015.
Yeah, it's pretty early.
Yeah, it's really early before we can tell, but so far, some nice additions going in there. Of course, it's not free of bugs, especially in such an early build. We're pre.1000 here, at I think it's 285 or something like that. People having the alarm clock go off the wrong times, text input not showing up at the right place.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bugs going on. Of course, active creating really screwed up on this build. But overall, it seems to be a good build. I know on my Passport I'm experiencing better battery life than I have with any 10.3.1 build. So, and it looks like Pat agrees with that for sure.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that I've been hearing the battery life's better. I haven't noticed it yet, but it's funny because as soon as the leak drops, what's the #1 question in the forums? How's the battery life, right? So, yeah. Okay, folks, the battery life so far is better. Let's throw that out there and get it out.
And
oh, Pat's showing looks like his battery life. Talk, Pat, so your screen pops up.
Oh, I'm at 74%, and it says I have 17 hours remaining.
I wish.
Awesome. This is the best battery life I've seen on my phone ever.
So hopefully we see that trend continue with the next 10.3.2 that we see, because everyone likes better battery life.
Absolutely. I can actually get through a day on my phone now, which is incredible for me. I run a lot of accounts.
I wonder if the battery life is affected by losing the fancy animations, like with the new lock screen. Make it as simple as possible, make every transition graphic as simple as possible, and increases the battery life. Because I remember when, for the iPhone, I think it was 7.1 or something, when they changed the whole graphic look, battery life really suffered.
That's a good point. John Chen is definitely pushing the battery life issue because that's how he wants to differentiate the brand. So maybe that's what they're looking at doing.
Battery life and startup time.
Yeah.
Speaking of John Chen, of course, we've had a lot more news about that in the past week with the fiscal results coming out. But I'm going to ask Scott a little bit about that since he's a little bit more researched.
Yeah.
Give us a breakdown, give us some highlights of the call there.
Basically, I'm just going to go over the numbers and highlight some of the differences from the previous quarter. So we're looking at a positive cash flow of 76 million, which was actually a surprise. The street, not a huge number, but the street wasn't expecting it. They were expecting a loss again. So again, so BlackBerry beats the expectations there. I am an investor. I will put that out there. I do hold BlackBerry stock, so transparent here. So, am I happy about it? Yeah, I am happy that they're making money and not losing money. Am I happy about 76 million? No, of course not. It's not enough yet, but it's a step in the right direction. Cash investments back up again. Another increase of $608 million in cash investments. So that's always great. No issues there. Earnings, non-GAAP earnings per share, 4 cents per share, vice of last quarter 8 cents per share loss. So to highlight that, that's actually a net difference of 12 cents per share. So it's actually a pretty significant difference from Q3 to Q4, which doesn't seem to be getting any highlights at all with the rest of the sites. Operating income of 2 million, reversing a loss of 156 million in Q4 of fiscal 14, so a year ago. So that's a massive difference. Gross margin, GAAP gross margin, third consecutive quarter positive hardware gain. So again, another positive for the company. Software revenue up another 67 million, which is a 20% increase over Q4 14. But we know that was going to increase anyway with the direction John Chen is bringing the company into more of the services and software side, vice just solely devices. So was that wasn't unexpected. On the device side, though, a couple of interesting things. They saw revenue on 1.3 million devices over the quarter. Not a massive number, but there was 1.6 million devices pushed out. And of those 1.6 million, we're looking at about 90% BlackBerry 10 devices. So that's actually the best thing out of this whole results for me. The fact that we're finally seeing almost 100% BlackBerry 10 devices being sold, by seeing BBOS devices being sold.
Excellent.
Yeah. Which, keeping going, the devices, the average sell price was up from 180 last quarter to $210. So that's a difference of 14% increase, which is pretty good. But it's great to see the increase. But again, $210 is peanuts for devices when you're saying that the Passport is selling for around $600 right now, and the Classic is out there for $500. But when you notice that of the devices that were pushed, 300,000 of them were pushed on no revenue. So that's about almost 20% worth of the devices that were pushed last quarter were gone with no revenue. So that's an obvious sign that that's the reason why the ASP is a bit lower than what we expect overall. So I think still it's good. Good overall. It's a great quarter overall, I think, personally. A lot of people are saying, well, the company's not making enough money. Yes, they made a bit of money, but they're still not making enough. They're not pushing enough devices through. But you don't turn the ship around in one quarter. It's taking years. And that's one of the things that I find people aren't, they're not waiting long enough to make sure that it's steady growth and change in the company. Everybody's expecting this quarter right now for us to be up over the $1 billion revenue mark. 500 million devices being pushed and all that. People need to slow down. I was watching some of the videos and reading a lot of articles about the quarter response or the quarter release. And I saw a video of John Chen on BNN, and he was talking about future, and he's still talking about acquisitions. So they are going to be looking at more acquisitions in the future along the enterprise and security line, which is still a great fit for the company. And he's still saying, and he's still pushing the fact that BlackBerry will still make devices. So he wants the BlackBerry device to be the end point for people to use for the security system. Yeah, they got the best for everything, and Secure Start and all those things. But at the end of the day, if the flaw is with the device that the person's using, he doesn't want to be a BlackBerry device. He wants to give the consumer the option of holding a secure BlackBerry device and then having the rest of it.
It's starting to get a little bit tedious about John Chen constantly having to say we're not getting out of devices. We're going to still make devices. People just, especially the investors, and they just don't seem to accept it or believe that BlackBerry will not fully transition to software only. They're always going to make devices. Like they always want to.
Yeah, and this one came out because the interviewer on BNN was saying that there was a few analysts out there that was stating the one thing that's holding BlackBerry stock down and holding the company back is the fact that it's still making devices. So, but I agree, it's like the company is still around to make devices, and as long as they have any type of positive flow of cash from them, they will make them. And I'm even willing to bet, based off of what John Chen said, if they're net equal or a minor loss on the device side, but the company as a whole was doing quite profitable, he'd still push them to give that option to the customers to say, okay, we have a secure device having used something else.
That this was the first quarter that had the classic was available for the entire quarter, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, yeah.
So that 90% of device sales was BlackBerry 10. How much of that we think was because of the classic? Because only a few quarters ago, OS 7 was still selling like 30 to 40%.
Yeah, I wish.
Really, really high. It's dropped really, really quickly. And do you think that's because of the classic?
I can speak to that a little bit as a sales rep in the store. I find a lot of people come in to look at the classic and then realize the Passport is sort of a bigger, faster, better version, and they go with the Passport. But having come in to see the classic, because they just have to have that tool belt. So I think that's actually helped quite a bit. The classic is bringing people back into the stores to see it. They try that, and they try the Passport, and a lot of the time they're going with the Passport. So that'll help.
But you can tell too, like, I mean, aside from the media being almost misled in that sense, in the idea that they don't understand that Chen isn't moving away from devices really, especially at Barcelona, how they talked about the 4 devices coming out this year. Of course, we saw the Leap preview and the slider, and then there's 2 kind of left up there in the wind as to what they're really going to be or what they're going to look like. So, but it's funny to see how the media gets just so crazy for the fact of just having a crazy headline that gives them the benefit of getting more readers. When there's fact out there that says that they're not moving away from that there's a lot of cool new stuff coming. And then, of course, with the quarter stuff, you see a lot of headlines recently that talk about, they're really disappointing and you shouldn't buy stock into it and it's not worth investing just yet. And while not investing just yet might be a little bit true, it's still not based on fact when you look at the results. So, but how do you guys feel about the media lately, like the way that they've been covering BlackBerry? You see a big trend in misleading headlines on this.
I personally feel that it's not as dark as what we were probably a year ago in the last days of Thorsten Hines and the first days of John Chen. It doesn't seem to be that dark, but they're still kind of out to launch on something, such as the devices, just like we were talking about, and really the direction in which the company are going. It just seems like they're not catching on to John's vision for the company. Yet he's quite transparent about where he wants the company to go. So I don't know. It's like, can you guys take your head out of the sand for a little bit and just have a read and watch a video or two?
Well, bad news always sells, right? So they're going to want to report anything that they can. They're not going to be so great to jump on and say, hey, BlackBerry's back. That's not going to be what people want to hear. They want to see bankruptcy, going out of business.
Yeah.
Well, I am seeing a lot of trepidation still among analysts, among media, because they're still kind of feeling that momentum of negative BlackBerry press, and they're not quite ready to move to positive BlackBerry press. But I think it's a lot harder to sensationalize good news than bad news. Bad news is really easy to catch, really eye-catching headlines. People want to read that because it's exciting, it's drama, right? I think the fastest way for BlackBerry to get really positive, exciting news is for something to happen that media outlets can sensationalize. So a crazy device release or announcement or something. These quarterly results, they're exciting for us, and it's interesting for us to find out where they're going and what's happening. But it's dry to a lot of people who don't know what's going on. So it's harder for the media to sensationalize the fact that they made a modest profit. Device sales aren't as good as they hoped. Da da da.
Yeah. So it's just been interesting to watch. I know I get when there's a lot of headlines I go on, so it's been really really interesting to watch, and it's something I'm going to have to keep watching just out of curiosity. Before I jump to the next topic, I just wanted to touch back on 10.3.2 because I know we had some questions pop up. People asking when is the slider going to come out. We here at BlackBerry Central, we've coined it the BlackBerry Glide, of course. But speaking on 10.3.2 and the Glide, since they actually sort of run parallel in terms of release, people asking when is 10.3.2 going to be available officially, and that's not until like summer 2015. Around that time, we're looking towards that later quarter in the year. Of course, things change all the time, but that's to the best of our knowledge when we'll see the Glide as well as 10.3.2, because 10.3.2 was mainly built for those new hardware optimizations, because of course now we have this hybrid software coming in, allowing both a physical keyboard as well as an on-screen full virtual keyboard. So there's some new optimizations there, but of course it's like almost a maintenance release in a lot of ways too. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll definitely give some updates when we can.
Basically, for both Jared and I, the Glide isn't coming out soon enough.
No. I'm ready to jump from my Q10 to move something else. I still can't connect to Blend.
And then to actually speak on Blend, which is our next topic, BlackBerry released sort of a limited beta for select participants in the beta zone, allowing them access to the new BlackBerry Blend 1.2, and it brings some new features. An updated navigation panel. They redesigned the dashboard a little bit. There's a new home screen ribbon. There's some new stuff on the device too, as well. Actually, you can toggle off the notification. I know a lot of people, like myself included, when you connect to Blend, you get that really, really annoying notification pop up in your hub, and sometimes it would even repeat itself for no reason. I'm sure those of you who have used Blend have experienced this before. So it's nice to see that BlackBerry is now allowing you to disable this notification. There's new file transfer, there's portrait mode support on tablets. We're finally seeing the Dropbox and Box integration, which we actually saw in the betas before Blend was even announced initially. So it's interesting to see that it's coming out soon in the next version rather than the first version. So for example, on the device, when you are connected to Blend, you'll actually see a notification at the top of the device here, which shows that you are connected to Blend. I know Scott had mentioned that this was something that they suggested.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they integrated it. And of course, Pat is showing off more of the internal part of the app itself.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't get a notification that I was eligible for the beta, the Blend beta, but I signed into Beta Zone and I'm downloading it right now.
Okay.
Oh, sweet.
Another thing we're going to do is we're actually going to show the new BlackBerry Blend, and I assume that you guys can see this. This is the Blend Beta 1.2. Just confirm for me that you guys can see this, though.
Yep.
Good.
Okay. So you can see that this is the new dashboard. It's very interesting. This is, of course, very, very early stuff. You guys aren't seeing final software here. There's no real information on the device that I'm using this for, so you won't see much detail that way. But in terms of the new dashboard, it's not something I personally like just yet. This dashboard is still being redesigned as we speak, so don't take this as what you're going to get in the final version. If we jump into something like BBM, for example, we'll see that there's your normal functions is just very differently laid out in comparison to how it was before. When we go into channels, we're seeing that things are moving from a 3-pane to a 2-pane sort of layout. This simplifies things a little bit better, in my opinion. I think that when there was 3 before, it was very big, very confusing. So it's nice to see that it's all scrolling in one page now, and we can see quickly between the two, going back and forth, rather than just one stream. Things are a little bit different. Nice to see that they're making improvements on the back end of this, making commenting easier, making actually viewing the channel a lot easier. Of course, we have our contacts view as well, our feeds. So not too much has changed. Overall, if I were to jump into chat with Max, for example, here, and click chat with Max, one of the things that I liked out of this new beta is you see that this layout's a little bit different. So there's some improvements here when it comes to the emojis. They're bigger, they're more clear. But also when I chat, things are just, they're quicker. This layout, this toolbar, I know before you'd only be able to read sort of one line and you'd have to scroll through that, but now it's actually opened up a little bit more, where you can actually read your entire message a lot easier, and that's going to make things when you're messaging so much simpler. Jumping back into, for example, the file manager, where we see, of course, Dropbox integration, which is nice to see. We have, the computer layout as well. If I had Box installed on the device itself, we'd see it there. So things are looking a little bit different. I don't know, what's your guys' take on this? Do you like the new layout yet, or is it something you think still needs a lot of work?
It's growing on, but I think it could use some improvement. There's a lot of wasted space on the homepage, and I liked the old view better.
Sure. Especially when it comes to the dashboard, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your device information is at the bottom left, and then your settings come out at the top right, and that's kind of conflicting, not what I expected to happen.
Yeah. There's a lot of room for improvements here. It's nice to see that they are still working on BlackBerry Blend. I know one of the things that I've complained about since the beginning is to have the email signatures. For me, it was a huge issue that someone like myself who emails quite frequently, to not have the email signatures is such a big issue, especially on a professional tool that they try to leverage to enterprise users. It's disappointing to see that something so simple as a core function like an email signature is still not included.
Also, inbox management, isn't it there? You can't separate your accounts, and so you're always seeing your work emails coming up all in one. That could be upgraded for sure.
So overall, it's a cool beta. It's nice to see that they're changing the UI where they can. Hopefully the dashboard, they try to combine the two almost and allow it to run off the way the old one did, where everything was just very present and very easy to visualize, and you can see the entire day. You can see your BBM, your text. You can also see which messages have come in and how many. A lot of cool things with the old one, but a lot of cool things with the new one as well. So room for improvement, but we'll just have to keep a close eye on the beta and see where it starts to progress to. So, to move on to our next subject, which is actually QuickPost. So if we jump to Pat, who is of course currently on the QuickPost team with Scott, we're going to just ask a few questions and get a little bit of a background for our viewers who don't necessarily know too much about QuickPost. So what is QuickPost and where did the idea come from, I think is one of the core questions.
All right. Well, QuickPost is an app that allows you to update all your social media accounts quickly and easily. You can update BBM, Twitter, Facebook, channels, groups, WhatsApp. The list goes on and on. Uh, the idea came from social feeds from OS 7, and that's pretty much the idea. So we used to have the ability to update all of your social media accounts quickly and easily just by typing it out and selecting which ones you wanted. So that's where the idea came from, and it wasn't present on BlackBerry 10, so there was definitely a demand for it. And, I certainly use it a ton, and that's where it came. Sort of the idea came from.
Good. And what do you do on the QuickPost team? I think people might be curious about what your exact role is overall.
Well, I'm in charge of marketing, advertising, some troubleshooting, tech support. If there's a problem, somebody sends a channel chat off, it comes to me. That's on my phone 24 hours a day around the world with all different countries. And so I do a lot of the customer support and feedback, ideas, all that sort of stuff. Keep the social media accounts clean and up to date.
Yeah, that's really great to know. And how has QuickPost been since you launched it? Has there been a lot of well received? Like, has it been well received overall? Do we see a lot of downloads, a lot of happy customers?
Yeah, we have tons of users. I would say between 4,000 and 5,000 people all over the world. And most of the reviews are 5 stars, which is good to see. And people are generally really liking it. We definitely take into consideration all of the suggestions and try to integrate as much as we can. Working within the limitations of BlackBerry, of course. But overall, we get lots of positive feedback and tons of happy customers.
That's great to know. I know Scott uses Scott here for BlackBerry Central uses the QuickPost quite frequently. Maybe Scott wants to let us know his experience with it.
Oh, yeah. You got muffled there a bit, Dylan, but pretty sure you told me to talk about QuickPost. I love it. It's probably, no, not even perhaps, but it's my #1 used app. Mainly because I travel a fair bit with work, so I'm always updating, getting on a plane, getting off a plane, new location, what am I doing, off go again, and yeah, it's awesome. I generally update BBM, Facebook, and Twitter all at the same time, which is what I wanted when I went looking for an app, because I got tired of going into each individual app to update my status. So I love it. It's my #1 app. It's on my home screen, vice in a folder, which means I want quick access to it. And I'll even use it just to update BBM status while it's actually opening a BBM app. I'll just like quick post, and it'll be done within 30 seconds. So no, it's well done to both patents and the developer, Scott, not me, Scott.
I find I do that a lot too. I will use it to update just one account because it's faster than opening the app and waiting for your newsfeed to load, posting updates, then typing it out. And I do that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Guilty. And love doing it from the hub too. Composing in the hub is something I do quite a bit.
Yeah. I'll throw a bone there and say, if you guys can find some way to update my location check-in and stuff, so I can only do it once, that would be awesome. Maybe that can be like QuickPost 2.3 or something. But I won't put you on the spot.
It's been mentioned already.
Oh yeah, cool.
Share my location.
So overall what's next for QuickPost?
Well, QuickPost 2.2 is coming out, and we have a fairly big announcement with that. New share targets that people have been asking for quite a bit for the last year and a half. So without further ado, I will show you what we've brought here. We've got Insta10 or Instagram integration coming in to QuickPost 2.2. So you can see that's there. And so, surprise! Something that people have been asking for a long time. If there's any way to share to Instagram. As soon as we had photo sharing, the request for Instagram was there. So that's just got a bit of testing left, and that'll hit public before too long.
And that's completely free too. That's not part of Pro.
No, that'll just be a share target that's included with QuickPost. Yep.
Awesome. Part of Pat being here today means that we are able to give some of our lucky viewers actually a copy of QuickPost Pro. So for a few people, what we're going to do is the first 5 people who comment on the BlackBerry Central site. So if you head to BlackBerryCentral.com, click on the podcast article right away, drop us a comment, let us know that you'd like to win a copy, and we'll hook you up. So the first 5 people will get a copy of QuickPost today. So drop us a comment as soon as you can. And definitely a special thanks to the QuickPost team for that.
We're happy to participate. Thanks for having us.
And then I want to finish off today's podcast and just talk about what we hope to see, from BlackBerry. I know they're moving a lot more towards software. In one of our last podcasts, we talk about what we want to see from them hardware-wise. But what do you guys want to see software-wise from BlackBerry, towards the end of 2015 into 2016? It's a tough question. Yeah.
Well, since a lot of their software is enterprise focused, I mean, it doesn't really. A lot of it doesn't apply to me. The Amazon store is actually really exciting. That kind of deepening of the partnership with Amazon, just being able to buy things straight from the phone like that natively. As far as software goes, I don't know. I think there's, from what we can see on the passports and everything with the new Tempo 3.2, we haven't seen a whole lot of new features, just a lot of maintenance. But I think maybe a lot of the bulk of the work that they're doing might be because of that slider.
Yeah.
That we don't have access to it because we don't have that hardware.
Right.
So
I think
that would be
really
very interesting to see what they do on a software side for that new hardware.
Making sure that this OS is smooth and utilizing all the feedback from Beta Zone and the testers, I think, is really important to get rid of the bugs, the little things that drive people nuts. Really have a smooth operating system that you can stand behind and not have to worry about. I know if my alarm clock didn't go off properly, that would be a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
I got 3 things on a wish list software-wise. So first thing would be the perhaps the devise a link and just incorporate everything into Blend. I don't see a need for 2 different applications on either a PC or a Mac to do what it's doing. So I think that could move forward a long way. Potentially like a home bez type system where I can take control of all my devices at home, add that layer of security, and use it in sort of a home. I would totally sign up for something along those lines. And finally, the final software thing, which I would like to see, is not going to be from BlackBerry. It's actually from Amazon. And give us some native applications. All right, you got the deal with BlackBerry, but you know what? Maybe a couple of native applications to appease us, the BlackBerry.
In the App Store.
Yeah, App Store and Amazon Store.
Oh, I thought you meant native applications in the App Store.
No, but their
native versions of would be good.
Yeah, for sure. If we're going your way in getting apps, or one of the ways in getting apps or buying stuff, why not make a BlackBerry 10 application? I think it's a fair trade.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That could be the next logical step. Yeah.
It would be for the partnership between BlackBerry and Android, BlackBerry and Amazon. I think it's fair to ask from Amazon to say, hey, give us a native application. Or even have BlackBerry make it for Amazon.
Yeah.
So that's my wish list for the next year.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, like you said, that we don't see that native step for at least the App Store. I know like what they kind of did some back end stuff, so that way the Android version is able to install a little bit simpler, and it invokes that way. I know in some of the new APIs that they're opening up, we can actually invoke the Amazon App Store through some of the coding for developers. So that way, people like our site, for example, we can link something like an Amazon app and have it open within the application on the device, rather than taking them to the web page, for example.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that they're doing some things that way. I know in some of our rumor roundups, we've touched a little bit on the QNX hypervisor and talking about Android on BlackBerry 10. And that there's a big loophole there, or sorry, not loophole, but more of a a hole in that question. A lot of people going, am I going to have to abandon BlackBerry in a year if they decide to go Android? And I don't see that happening. Not at all.
The way I see hypervisor, it's the Android runtime.
Yeah. Well,
hypervisor gives you a little bit more capabilities, but essentially they proved the concept with the Android runtime, because it's effectively a virtual machine that just launches Android apps without the actual backbone of the OS there.
And then I don't think we'll see Android stuff. We'll see some improvements. Speaking on a lot of the enterprise software, it's nice to see the direction they're going in terms of innovation. So if we look at the way we have like work life, for example, the split billing on one SIM card, it's nice to see that they're doing a lot of innovative stuff that's newer, and they can try to market it. I know that when it comes to software like that, they're really going to have to push it. There's a lot of carriers out there, who aren't aware of the software yet, and it'd be really great to push that, because it's going to be through the carriers for the most part setting those things up. So, but when you expect software from BlackBerry, I don't want to say that we'll see too much. I know that there's a lot of cool new things going on. Bez moving up to 12.2, and we're seeing a lot of new software things coming out later this year, towards the end, near the summer. But at the same time, they can't keep pushing out a lot of software. It has to simplify in a lot of ways too. Like you had mentioned, closing down the link software, unifying it together with blends. That way, for the end user, it's a lot simpler. Things are they're not everywhere, and it's not two whole programs you have to do, because then there's so much less incentive to actually use those programs.
It would be nice to see BlackBerry Protect coming to Blend as well, and Link, however that comes together. BlackBerry Protect is a great program that seems like it's sort of been forgotten about. There was some good things on the old Protect that didn't seem to make it, and I think it's something they really could cash in on. Being able to GPS locate your device and back it up, remotely wipe it, that stuff's great. But you should be able to do it through Blend.
Totally.
Yeah, I think the way I look at Blend, and the way I would like to see Blend go, is effectively be your BlackBerry on whatever computer system you run. Right? Everything you can do on your phone, you should be able to do it from Blend, so that you don't have to pick up your phone anymore. And the whole backing up and everything that Link gives you, that's just get rid of it. Use your engineers to make Blend that much better. And the fact is, I think they're going to go that way, because we haven't seen an update to Link since when? I don't even remember.
Long time.
Yeah, it's a long time, exactly, right? So I think they're going to go that way, because it just makes sense. And they should, but like Pat said, Protect needs to get, all these features should be accessible via Blend and online as well, so that if you're traveling and you lose your device, you can just log in anywhere.
Yeah. Access Blend from Protect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually got the brother on our website there just mentioned new feature request for 10.3.2 is holster notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something, it's got to come back, man. Like all these EVOS features that people loved, they got to get on the wagon and get them back for people, because that was why a lot of people were sticking around.
Yeah, totally. And unfortunately, we are at the end of the BlackBerry Central podcast, episode 3. Big thanks to Scott, Pat, and Jared for joining me today. Question to our viewers: are you guys running 10.3.2 yet? Do you have the new Blend beta? What are you guys thinking of what's going on based on the topics from today's podcast? Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next podcast, and enjoy your Sunday.
See you guys.
Cool.
Bye.
See ya.